From Karachi on the News Hour tonight, Zafar Hilali, former Pakistan ambassador to the US, is joining me. Former IB director Ajit Doval is joining the debate tonight. KC Singh is with us. Chidanand's with us. We'll be joining by also via Skype. We are being joined from Colorado, USA by Rob Schultes, who is a senior journalist and an Afghan expert. Thank you very much. Zafar Hilali, my first question to you tonight is, Mr. Hilali, tell us why Osama bin Laden was tucked away, comfortably hiding right next to one of the largest military training academies on the outskirts of Islamabad. It's incredible he chose such a difficult place to hide.
Well, yes, I think everybody is very astonished. Everybody is very astonished that he was found where he was, and I think this is a lapse, a huge lapse that has taken place. I don't think that we can possibly escape that, but nevertheless, I think to insinuate that the man was deliberately kept there and a mansion built for him and that he was provided special facilities, etc., I'm sorry, we don't buy that here. However, I cannot detract from the fact that for our intelligence not to know where he was a lapse.
Just a lapse. Mr. Hilali, he was not tucked away in the tribal badlands or in some hilly region of Tora Bora. He's in a plush locality a few miles away from Islamabad, next to your largest military center. It's just the ISI and the Pakistan had no idea about it, and your interior minister keeps on saying he's either dead in Iran, in Yemen, or in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's incredible, this whole story.
You see, the point about that I just want to clarify one thing about the military academy. The military academy is not it is well protected within the academy, but that area is not a sensitive military area in the sense that there are no military installations apart from the academy, which I'm sure is well safeguarded. So to make out that the whole thing was under the army, or to make out that there weren't private houses there, that, you know,
but why, Mr. Hilali,
other civilians lived in.
Mr. Hilali, please explain to me why, I mean, why in your view would the world's most wanted man live tucked away right under the nose of the Pakistani military establishment? Why would he live in that state?
Well, you know, let me tell you.
Yes.
Let me say that after the war ended in Afghanistan, more than 200 people from Al-Qaeda crossed over into Pakistan. Those people who crossed over into Pakistan, some of them were caught. A lot of them were not caught. Many of them went to ground in places like Karachi, where they have support amongst the local population.
Sir, these people,
many of them.
Sir, these people, who you're talking about, they've been working on the move. They've been communicating via couriers. They move stealthily in small groups to be immune from attacks, from drone attacks. And you're not telling me that the super lord of all of this builds a castle for himself right next to a military establishment and feels very secure in that situation. It just is not adding up, Mr. Hilali.
Well,
I'm sure it's not adding up for you either.
Anybody, I mean, well, I think that, you know, sitting in Delhi, you seem to know who built it, that it was a castle, that it was something which is out of the ordinary. If you look around, there are placed 3-story houses near that. This house was not even guarded. There were no guards. However, so I mean, you know, to insinuate that all this was done deliberately for him. Look, I tell you, it is embarrassing.
Yes.
It is something that should not have happened, and no doubt about it. But the fact of the matter remains that to jump to from that conclusion that it was deliberate and that it was done by the army, sir, I think is excessive.
Sir, and I am not even quoting WikiLeaks tonight.
Well, I mean,
I am not even quoting WikiLeaks tonight, which has talked in great detail the link up between the ISI and the Al-Qaeda. I'm not even talking about, I'm talking hard facts tonight about what is on the ground. I'm simply asking tonight, who was paying his electricity bill? If he didn't have telephone connections, how was he surviving there? How did nobody know about it? Do you have a civil administration? Do you have a military administration? Or was Osama running a parallel government within that house? Mr. Doval, does it add up? I want Mr. Doval, who was head of the Intelligence Bureau, to respond to you tonight. Mr. Doval.
Actually, it does not add up at all.
Let me just, sorry, interrupt.
Okay. Mr. Doval,
let me just tell you one thing.
Yes.
Let me just interject and make this point, that the Taliban, let me just make this point, that the Taliban get $200 to $300 million out of the drug trade. They get over $100 million as a result of the Hawala system. And more than that, you will be astonished to know that they get $1,000 per truck from the United States for protection, so that their trucks can come through Afghanistan. This figure is $3 million
that is still
a year.
Not explaining.
So, you know, when you talk about people...
That is still not explaining
I am explaining where they get their money from.
Yeah, but
I am explaining where they get their money from. Look, when you ask that question, where they get their money from, I'm just telling you that. I mean, these are facts. Now, the question, I know it's not relevant.
No,
the fact that this man was found near a military academy.
It also shows,
you asked that point.
It also shows how America does not trust the ISI or trust Pakistan. I mean, you know, America has known about this for 9 months. They didn't let...
Absolutely.
They didn't let Pakistan know. Or at least that's what we should believe. Either both Pakistan and America are lying about it.
Yes.
Or America does not trust Pakistan.
Yes,
or the third most likely alternative is that nobody trusts Pakistan.
Yes, indeed.
In this situation tonight. AK Doval is responding to you tonight.
America does...
Well, you asked me a question.
AK Doval is responding to you. 1 second, sir.
Let me start with the thing.
Mr. Doval, yes.
That denial is neither a fact nor an argument. It is a position.
Yes.
If you have decided, or if Ambassador Hilali has decided to take a position,
yes,
there is nothing that can be said against that.
Yes.
Because you are taking a position
Mr. Doval,
you think that...
Mr. Doval, so sorry to interrupt you. So sorry to interrupt you. Parvez Musharraf is joining us on the phone line. I just want all the perspectives. General Musharraf, Mr. Musharraf is joining us from Dubai. Can you hear me? Arnab Goswami here this evening.
No, I think you need to come louder. And, very weak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, just a second. Try and take it louder.
Okay, I don't have a good audio line, but let me first begin by asking you, Mr. Musharraf, do you buy this argument that Pakistan did not know about this whole operation?
Well, I can't take it so long, but that's what office so therefore I think it to be correct.
Okay. Well, Mr. Musharraf, I'll come back to you. Just try and improve the phone line with you, and then I'll come back to you, Mr. Musharraf. Yes, Mr. Doval, please respond. You're responding to Mr. Hilali tonight.
Now, what I was telling is this, that if Ambassador Hilali has taken a position that for Pakistan at this point of time, when neither they have facts in their favor, nor any arguments in their favor, and the whole thing stands exposed, total denial is the only tactics that they can adopt. I can understand it, though I do not approve of it. Now, the facts are, Osama bin Laden, whose one major objective was to remain in a safe place, will never be at a place from where he cannot escape. If he was ever attacked, either by anyone, it could be Pakistan, it could be the rival groups or anyone, Abbottabad is a place which is not connected in a way from where he could have escaped to any place. If he was in North Waziristan, he was in Tora Bora, or he was in other thing, he would have been safe. He can stay here only when his safety is totally assured by the people who he thinks are in a position to protect him, and that could not be anyone except the Pakistan Army and the ISI. Now, academy is a place where you have got all the infrastructure. At the same time, you have got various types of other facilities. There are retired officers. You know, Abbottabad is a place just like Dehradun, where I am now, in Pakistan, where there are a lot of senior people. There are a lot of whom you can trust and you can give a lot of small errands to do. Maybe that many of them did not know that Osama bin Laden was staying here. Maybe that there was only one contact person. Now just see, he was living there in that building, there was no telephone. He was living in a building where there was no internet connection. He was living in a building where he was not allowed and he was not using any mobile numbers. After all, how was the entire connectivity and his entire connection with the other groups, with the Taliban, with the other groups in Saudi Arabia, in the groups in Iraq, that he was maintaining his contacts? It was being done through an other safe house, which must be close to it, and
that's
which
the point,
must
Mr.
be having the infrastructure, but no Al-Qaeda man. No Al-Qaeda man. Now here it will be only a courier type of this thing, and that is why the secondary intelligence was generated by the CIA. The first one probably through the technical means, here by the human intelligence and surveillance. I think it's a classical case of intelligence surveillance over the target area where they could see the movement. They would not have gone for this operation unless they had done the due diligence and totally confirmed that the man is in sight. And it is quite likely that in this process they were able to develop a human intelligence.
Mr. Hilali,
probably
Mr. Hilali, you hear that argument?
You know, I think that fact will come shortly.
Yeah. Mr. Hilali, you hear that argument? The argument is very simple. Osama bin Laden could only have been living there had somebody been protecting him, had somebody been harboring him, had somebody formed a ring around him. And maybe America shared this intelligence information, but Pakistan was pushing back for the last few months.
You see, first of all, you must understand that they get a lot of sightings of people who have a $25 to $50 million reward on their heads. It is inevitable that you will get reports saying, we saw him here or we saw him there. These reports are passed on to the Americans, they are passed on to anybody else with whom we have good cooperation. Pakistan does not have a satellite system whereby it can follow these people. It does not have the audio equipment to be able to record and do what they're saying.
You are in direct.
Well, the fact of the matter is that the lead, as Obama himself said in his speech, the lead of this man being where he is or in the region where he was, he said that it is a result of the cooperation.
Sir, he made no mention.
Now, what I'm trying to tell you...
He made no mention of the Pakistani military role in the operation. No, sir, he did not.